All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man in the Middle. This is the show where mothers and men meet in the middle to have real conversations about raising boys, building men. I'm your host, Aaron Judah. Today's discussion, we're going to be touching on the topic of motivating these young men and pushing them into the direction that we feel like they need to go. Um, with us, I have a good friend of mine, Chaz, who was on episode one.
Yes, sir. Gotta
Also,
say peace.
we had Brittany, who was also on episode one with Chaz, right? So this is it's a reunion of sorts.
Right.
Yes.
Um, so we're gonna get started, right? So the for me, right, this topic is kind of near for me because of a conversation I had with a parent last year. Um, so the parent was, of a student that I had in my classroom, a young man that I was very fond of. We had a good relationship, and I had never met his mom before. Um, so I met his mom. She came for she was kind of like shadowing him for the day. 'Cause I guess there was
Mm-hmm.
too many reports, so they was like, you gotta come in, like you gotta come in because like he's kind of all over the place. So you got to come in and shadow him. So she came in, she shadowed him. I met her for the first time. We had been in conversation via email, but I met her in person for the first time. And she, while my class was doing my class thing, and then she asked to step in the hallway. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we go in the hallway, and she just like, I just don't know really what to do right now. Like I'm a little like I'm a little overwhelmed with all that's going on. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say to him. I feel like I didn't took everything. I feel like I didn't, punished him until I couldn't punish him no more. It's like I don't know where else to go with this young man, and it's like I need some support.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she was just like he don't want to do nothing but play football. Like anything else outside of football, he don't really care to do. He don't want to do nothing around the house. He don't want to come to school and put no effort for it. He just want to play football, or that's it.
Right.
That kind of like, you know, um, that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to that perspective, and then I started noticing, the other young men in the room, and I started seeing like, okay, I'm noticing some like similarities here. It's like I don't know if they all got the same story, but I do know, or I did notice that there was a lack of motivation in a lot of the boys that I was dealing with. Right, it was
Right.
either there was no motivation to do anything at all, it's just like I'm just here because I gotta be here, or it's like they pick and choose what what I'm saying they gonna partake in.
Right.
Um, so a few stats that I came across. Right, it says survey says that 40% of parents worry that their son is unmotivated at school. Boys are more likely than girls to say that they're bored or disconnected from learning, right?
Right.
Uh, the other one is by high school, boys are twice as likely to be labeled as disengaged or not applying themselves. All right,
Okay.
Brittany might be having some technical issues, so I'm guessing she'll be back in a second. But like, Chad has had this conversation. Like, do you ever identify, or have you ever identified with that? Um, have you ever identified with that label of being like unmotivated, or being lazy or not caring?
Uh, no. I mean, only thing I've identified growing up is I'm nonchalant, right?
Huh. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm chill, but not unmotivated or lazy. I got a high work ethic. So on me personally, no. But I've seen it, and I can identify with. I'll say this: you get to a point, especially I think the younger generation, they're getting wiser. You get to a point where you're just not impressed with this world. Like,
Mm.
and I'm coming across young men that's not impressed with this world because I'm someone who's not impressed. I'm over it to the degree. But me as a mature mind, me being over it is working hard to make a change or do something to change the reality. But from a young person's perspective, it's like, man, yeah, all I want to do is play football, or dude, this is what I'm into. I want to focus on this. Everything else, it just seems like, and we spoke on it a little bit, almost like a robot of sorts, right? So I had this young man I was talking to my neighbor, his father, and we cool, but he was telling me his son was saying, "Hey, Dad, man, you know we living in a simulation," but his dad couldn't wrap his mind around that. Right. And I told her, and I'm like, bro, that's not a bad thing. He told you that. That means he's actually aware of what's going on around him. So yeah, they're gonna be unmotivated of going with the status quo. We now just have to figure out the things that they like and how to build around that instead of putting them in a square of how we was 20 years ago. And you know,
right. Bernie, let me ask you, right? Have you noticed anything of the sort with your oldest?
So, when we talk about lack of motivation, I've experienced the same as the parent that you were just speaking of. You know, and it's hard. You do get to a point where you've taken everything. You feel like you've taken everything. You pulled them, and it's hard to kind of take sports because, like, all they have these babies have gone through COVID. You know, it's been the world for them has been very different. So they kind of need that balance. So you want to take away what that one passion is because you know it'll get through to them. But at the same token, it's like, then if I don't give them that outlet, what outlet do they have? Because I was just having a conversation the other day with a coworker, and we were talking about how our children are, you know, not only are they being diagnosed with things like ADHD and autism, but they're experiencing anxiety at such young ages. Like, it's just so much going on. They live in this world of social media. They feel like they have to meet a standard. They're not loving themselves. And as parents, it's really hard to try to figure out, how do we navigate that for you? How do we help you understand that, you know, you are exactly who you were designed and destined to be. You know, you have a purpose and you're uniquely made. And as far as boys specifically, to the point of my child is I yell so much because, and I think we talked about it on the first episode, you know, I think you guys said it's either black and white. There is no gray area. So, you know, I yell so much because it's like, are you hearing me? I want you to understand what I'm trying to tell you. I'm thinking that he's not listening, when in reality, it's just like, Mom, this really just doesn't interest me. Like, I really don't care. You know, I'm going to do what I have to do. I know I have to go to school, but it's not where I want to be. It's not what I want to do. So, yeah, to some extent, I have experienced it, and I'm still in that space where we're heavily navigating that, actually.
What kind of things outside of like taking, you know, saying things away from him have y'all tried? I think she's frozen.
She's frozen. Man, that's a good question. Because I'm not there at that age yet with my children, but what I've seen in being in the neighborhoods, really, well, I take that back. When you do take away that only thing they feel alive in, she's saying it has a point. What other outlet is there? And then they get into the streets. So when I'm in the neighborhoods, their outlet is just literally in the streets. You know, because I don't want to hear what you talking about, because I'm not interested. Like you said, it is gray areas, but unfortunately, we see in black and white. And the gray areas can help support us to get to our goal, but it's like a game of chess trying to get young men to see the gray areas sometimes. Because we so literal. We take everything literal. You know?
Like I think I could say we similar in demeanor. So like I don't think I was labeled as unmotivated. But there was definitely times where my lack of interest was clear, right? Like if I wasn't interested in something, I couldn't fake like I was. I wasn't giving a lot of energy. I wouldn't put a lot of time into it. Like I didn't know how to maneuver that, right? So, in the dynamic that you're talking about, Brent, I feel like one way that worked for me was like older people try to like paint a picture, and like give a connection to their experience, where it's just like, yo, like there's definitely going to be things that you don't care to do, right? There's things that I don't care to do, and they try to like make it clear, like, yo, like I'm not doing everything that I'm doing is not something that I'm excited to do, right? But they made it clear, like, yo, I have to do this in order to do this, right? Like this is they try their best to like make it super clear that like I'm not the only person who is experiencing things that they don't want to go through. Right? Like when you at a certain age, you just look at it like it's just me that hate this. It's like I'm the only one. Clearly, I'm the only one that hate this.
So I'm sorry if I'm delayed. I'm having connection issues. Like y'all, I don't know if why, but just if I'm delayed, I apologize. But yeah, I think it goes back to like, how do boys think? How do they see the world? What is their perception? I mean, as humans, we all perceive differently, but as young men in today's world, like to Chet's point, yes, if you don't give them that outlet, then they will find a way, and that way may not be favorable. It could be the streets. And Ab, I grew up in Sea Pleasant, so even like today, coming home, we rode past the store, and it's police everywhere. They got markers out there, and my son looks at me. He's like, "Well, what happened?" And I'm like, "It looked like somebody got killed in the store." So just, it's so much that they see and don't understand. I mean, because even though when I was growing up, you had, I don't know what we're gonna call them, but the boys on the corner, they might be out all night, but if I'm coming home, they're looking out for me because of the respect that they built, for our family. So, but nowadays, our kids don't know a friend from a foe. Unfortunately, they grow up thinking that they get in these spaces and everybody's a friend until they're not, and then, or they get in situations where they aren't raised. They realize, wow, we're being raised totally different. Like my son, even though, yes, my grandmother still lives, in Sea Pleasant. We still have our home there, everything. So there's been things that he's been exposed to, but he doesn't necessarily understand the streets. It's not, God forbid he ever ends up in a situation where it's like street life, real street life. He's not, I don't raise him, like I don't hide things from him. And if he has questions, we navigated, we talked about it. He's seen somebody be shot before. We've been in a scenario where a person was shot and he's seen him hit the ground. So we've navigated things, but it's just today's time is so different, and it's hard to understand like what really runs through their minds, what their real challenges are. They don't want to talk. And when they do talk, it's like bits and pieces. So you're trying to put the puzzle together, trying to figure out, okay, how do I start? Where do I start? What is it that you need me to support you in? How do you need me to explain? What is it that's really bothering you? Getting them to express those emotions, getting them to talk through and navigate. I've had my child in therapy. He's experienced loss at an early age. So just trying to figure those things out. It's just, I think it's so many factors today. Whereas even for us, we're not that old, but I mean, I'll say even for us compared to our parents and our grandparents, it's just all different. It's very different in the things that they've had to experience. COVID took a lot of time away from them. Kids don't go outside and play anymore. That's one thing I do love about my son. He'll choose outside over a TV show or a game system any day. But at the same token, like last week, I was fussing at him because he likes to go outside and just be. Whereas when I was growing up, that was cool. As long as you were home or in view when it got dark outside and your parents could see you, you were good. But nowadays, I'm telling him, if you move from one house to the next, you need to stop. I don't care if the houses across the street from each other. If I expect you to go to A house and you decide we going across the street to B house, like you got to come all the way home and tell me we moving to B house because I don't know what people are on. Like I don't know, it's not you that I don't trust. I trust that you are going where you say, but I don't know the families. I don't know who's running through their houses. I don't know the people that are walking up and down the street. It's just different. It's really difficult. And I lean on a lot of, male family members, coaches, just trying to make sure he's in the right spaces with the right people and he's getting the foundation so that he can make the right choices when I'm not present. And, and just praying over my babies, like, God, if I'm not there, please cover them because this world is just so uncertain. Like, and I tell my oldest all the time, this world doesn't like you. People run in this country, you are not a favor to them. So you're expendable. Like they don't care if you're here today, gone tomorrow. Like there is no big hoorah about you, but you can change that narrative. You can make an impact. You can, show the world what you have to offer and how unique you are. But I need you to find that within. I need you to tell me, how do we do this? When it comes to, we always go through this thing, Ma, I can get a free iPhone. Nothing in life is free, son. Like just the little things, like even if the man in the store tell you can have a free piece of candy, it's some stipulation behind. Like I need you to understand free doesn't exist. I need you to understand your skin color is not going to get you in the door, but your credentials might. You need to find a way, I need you to understand they want you to spend your money, but how do you invest your money and make a return on it? Like I need you to, and it's unfortunate because we trying to get them to understand these things at younger ages. And they're like, I just want to play. Like, I just want to be a child. What are you talking about? But the reality is, like, I need you to know these things. So,
right. I got a question. What age did you start? Being an open book about his reality. Like, what age? Like, for example, right? Mine is 7. Right. So before he really delve into and know social media, he's not there yet. Soon he's going on the wax museum. He's about to know about our history. And this is at 7. So now he's going to grow, love for his people. He's going to understand his identity and know what his place in the world. But my question really is, about what age did you start, sharing with him who he was?
So probably about the age between 5 and 7. Because so obviously my son has a cell phone, and I tell him all the time, I wish we were never in a position where you needed a phone. Right. If I can make it so you don't have a cell phone, that would be my preference. But it came to a point where I had to put him on the bus to go back and forth to school. So I needed to track him. I needed to know where he was. So it was probably about that 5 to 7 age range. And, I like the fact that what you're saying, he's 7, he doesn't know the social media world. And he's getting ready to learn about his people because my child knows parts of his history. Hello. He knows parts of his history, but parts of it he's afraid of. Like I told him we're going to go all school. They don't do Blacks and Wax Museum like when we were in school. So when we did the African American Museum, they have a simulation of a slave ship, but it's not as in depth as Blacks and Wax Museum in Baltimore. And I was telling him about it, and to him that's scary. And I'm like, but that's your history. Like that's what you need to know. So I wish that was imposed on him before social media got a hold of him. Right. And that's where I think as an economy, as in the world where we kind of, not where we kind of, but where our babies are being messed up because they get to social media and social media only tells half the story. It might tell they might get the lies, then they're believing it. But so then when we try to flip it and teach them, the real side of things, it's like that's not. Then you gotta try to. Then they want to argue the point. Like, all right, come on. So yeah, so it's probably about that age, somewhere between 5 and 7. Because I want to say he was probably about 4 or 5 when the girl got shot in front of the house.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, it's. I mean, for the most part, it sounds like he got a good foundation. Now it's just again narrow in on what he's interested in. So like, even if you just have him write on one side of the paper, just give me the things you interest you. Just give me can you hit 10? Can you hit 5 to 10 things that interest you? And then I don't even care about the stuff that don't. I'm gonna see this list and let's try to build your world around that.
Right? And that's honestly hard because even asking him things like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He doesn't have those answers right now.
Yeah.
Like, because they don't talk about those things. So I will say my child is now, he goes to an all boys school, where he has a lot of male influence. Okay, so that is changing the narrative a little bit. Whereas when he was attending Prince George's County schools, like, I made the choice to pull him because I'm literally telling them where my child needs support.
Right.
And it's like, well, we don't have the manpower to do it. So he kind of just falls in the narrative. I pulled him when he was in the 4th grade, and I told him, I said, I would have held you back. PG County's going to move you along.
Yeah.
That's how their system works. But in my opinion, you're not ready for middle school. 5th grade I'm not going to put you in a situation if I don't feel like you're prepared. So, I do try to find things and ways to challenge him. I've homeschooled him before, and I honestly wish that I had the ability to continue homeschooling. Like, even with my youngest, I'm thinking I'll start him in a preschool, but then once he hits kindergarten, I'm hoping to be in a position to homeschool him for 1st and 2nd grade, where it's just easy to introduce him. But I just because the world is so, like, they believe everything they hear in the world, and they get such a heavy influence that no matter how great of a foundation, we go to extremes to try to make it so that he understands himself and he understands, everything happening around him. But it takes for one TikTok video, and he's like, "No, Mom, that's not the truth. Like, it's on TikTok," and I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, it's difficult, but I look for those opportunities, and I look for people to share ways with me that may be helpful in getting him. Because again, we've had conversations. What you want to be when you grow up? Okay, well, what is it that you like? I don't know. And I told him, like, even with asking, how was your day? What you doing in school? I forgot. Man, cancel that. I forgot. That word. No. Let's talk. Like, we got a whole hour ride home. Let's talk about your day. Let's talk about what happened. Right. And so I started breaking it down in little chunks and pieces. All right, so what you eat for lunch? And then it'll start to kick, what y'all do at recess. And then it's like, and then when we got back in the classroom, so then it starts to come out. So I figured, like, that has been a change, breaking it as much as I can break it down in small pieces and give it to him. Then he can find ways to give it back to me and add to it as he goes along.
Yeah. I do think it's important to kind of that question, like, how was your day? What did you do today? Like, that one is tricky because it's like it's too broad. Right, so it's good that you can narrow it down.
Yeah, you can.
And then widen that net. So it's like, what did you have for lunch? Then that's going to go in another direction. This kid did this and this. So you got to almost make it feel like you're not interrogating him. It's more so just like a conversation. It's like, you know what I mean? Because I remember my mother used to ask me that, and I used to be like, "No, I don't
know. Regular day. I don't know."
I did the same thing I did yesterday. Like, I've been doing the same. I do the same thing every day. Yeah. Like, of course, there was little nuances, but she didn't ask about that specifically. So, like, I gave her the general answer. I was like, "It was good. It was a cool day." Like,
and you said it specific. You have to be very specific with boys. Like,
you got to be very specific. You got to even come up with different ways to ask the same question. It's like, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the funniest kid in your class, or like, you know what I'm saying? With any type of question, is like, did you like, you know what I mean? Whatever the question is, and then you could kind of like squeeze the rest of the information out of them. But like, just imagine if you heard the same question every day.
But as I was talkative, so I wanted to come home. Like, if I didn't give it to my family, they heard me on the phone talking to my friends, and I'm talking about it, or you know, I bring something home that was about the day, something that happened throughout the day. So then my mother, my grandmother, my dad, they asking me, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I just get to talking. So one thing I can say I found with my son, I got a phone call from another parent, single dad, and he said, I just wanted to thank you because my son was dealing with some challenges, and apparently he talked to your son. He said, no matter what I said to him, I was getting ready to not send him to school the next day because I couldn't get him to calm down. He said, but he talked to your son, and whatever your son said, just put him at ease. He was like, so I just want you to know you are raising an excellent young man. And I told him, I said, you know, I really needed that because as much as I yell and I'm fussing and I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over. When I get stuff back like that, it makes me know that like I'm doing well. Like, okay, he hears you. You may not see it immediately, or he may not do it for you, but where it matters in the street, you know, he's showing that. It shows that you are raising a respectful young man who has, you know, some values and foundation. And even at his previous school, I used to always tell him, like, if it's something happening that don't have nothing to do with you, first of all, mind your business. Now, if it don't have nothing to do with you, don't insert yourself. And then if it's uncomfortable for you, or you feel like, you know, you want to get pulled in, then remove yourself from the situation. So what he would never tell me like this happened until I would say, I got a call from your PE teacher, and he told me that you removed, you know, that there was a situation and you went ahead and moved yourself out the way, and I'm proud of you for doing that. So it takes sometimes for me to tell him about, you know, the feedback that I got, because even now, when it comes to school, he starts setting, like, I would fuss about school, but his school has some type of award that they give out, and the awardee gets like an iPad or a MacBook or something. So that was a motivation for him, and he started to zone in on what do I need to do to try to win this award. And their theme at their school is to be a man for others. So they teach them how to be respectful, you know, how to help out at home, how to help out your classmates, how to serve your purpose. And so with that, he's been trying to not only keep his grades up, but also change his attitude and behavior, because he wants us to show across the board, because he knows that like his teachers reach out and they ask questions, and he knows, like, you know, with us being our age as parents, they've never expected us to be as engaging and as involved, and I've always been a very involved parent. So, you know, I'm emailing his teachers on a regular basis. Will this happen? And I need to know. So there are factors outside of home that will motivate him, but it helps with things that are happening in the home, because, you know, like I said, I want to be a man for others, and I know they might ask my mom what I do at home, so let me go ahead and balance myself across the board.
Yeah, when I had my mentorship group last year, we used to do like weekly progress reports, and it was like 3 parts. It was you get the report, a quick report from your teachers, you give like a self-assessment, and then you get an assessment from your parents too. Like your parents, you got to take it home, and your parents got to, you know, essentially write a report about how you're doing at home. So like I would get feedback back from parents, and it'll be like, he not taking the trash out, or he not doing this, or he is doing this. So it was interesting to see, like, you know, and we would have discussions about that. It's kind of like, you say you want, like, you know what I'm saying? You say you want to be this kind of person. Like, because that was one of the original, you know, exercises that we went through. It's like, what type of person do you want to be? Like, what type of person, you know, what kind of man do you want to be? How do you want to be recognized? How you want people to know of you? And, you know, so we did that exercise, and it was tough for some of them to kind of figure out, like, okay, like, what do I want? you know, they never really thought about that before. But
Right.
like, so when they would bring the progress reports back from home, and some of the parents would have critiques, we would talk about it. Like, yo, like you said you was this is what you was, but you got to be consistent everywhere. Like, don't just show and prove in front of me and then get home and act like you don't got no sense. You know what I mean? It's been scenarios where we've been in a school environment and it'll be like one of their parents there, one of their mom there, and they'll be acting, and I just be like, you know, I'll be like in the area and I'll see it and I just be like, man, if you don't mind, can I talk to your son real quick? And just be like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
right.
You like what are you doing like right now? Like, think about what you're doing. Like, if somebody was watching you from the outside, just watching the interaction that you just had with your mother, the lady that brought you here, imagine what they would see, what they would think about you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what I just walked into, but for the fact that I can see that and you doing this in public, like if we wasn't in a school environment, I might put you in a headlock, bro. Because that's crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, and then, you know, mom will be like, you know, she'll come to me, she'll be like, I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, talking to me. But it's like, bro, and that's what let me to know, like, it gotta be a man around somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's just listening to y'all, that right there was just the answer. Like, the man role model is the model. So she said, you know, all boys school now, you know, obviously the male teacher's giving you now, you know, he just see himself, you know, so that's what, and in truth, as a man who grew up single mom, watching strong men motivated me.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And I mean, so, you know, we're getting on the right track. I do believe, you know, men are stepping up more than ever. So we just got to keep that going and try to fill in the void where that is missing, because that is the trigger. If I just see a man that's on man time, if you would, then you know, the pride in me ain't going to want to be the last one or the rotten egg, whatever you want to say, but I'm going to try to do my thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just listening to y'all say that. I've been like, man, the male influence is crucial.
But also, I think too, boys have a different respect for male authority than especially single mom. Like my son, I know for a fact he respects male authority, whether it's his dad or his coaches or his grandfather, his uncle. It's different than it is for me. So even with his teachers, like you see your point, Ab, it's, you know, this teacher or this man knows me in a certain way. I carry myself a certain way with him, and I don't want him, you know, but I know my mom that's my mom. She's a nurturer. And to be honest, I'm not a soft parent. And my son will tell you, like, my mother is gonna go to blows with you, you know. So he knows that we don't play those games, and academics are first. We have our set rules in our house, but at the same token, that's still my mom. I have this codependency. I know how to break her down if I really need to, you know. So they try to take advantage of those things. But so in certain scenarios, like whenever we're out, my son is holding doors. Like I've told him that he see a woman walking up to the door, we walking in the store, go ahead, Mom. He'll stand there. It could be 5, 10 women coming behind us. He's going to hold the door for every single one. And not because I told him to, but because that's what he has been taught, you know. So, but if it's just me and him, sometimes I'm like, dude, what's up? I have to remind him, because it's just like, oh, that's just my mom.
Yeah.
But when he wants it to be seen, so I've had people approach me in so many different arenas and scenarios, and like, you know, he's such a little gentleman, he's a young man, you know, even in church he does things. So I don't know, it's a 50-50, I always say, because at least I know you're showing it outside the home. At least I know what I'm instilling in you is in you. You just take your chances with me because I'm mommy, and you know, that's home for me. I know how to manipulate home, not in a bad way, but you know, so that's the way it is.
It's crazy that you say that, because like as you speaking, I'm thinking like, damn, that's kind of like how I was. Like I was kind of like low key the same way. Like my mother would have complaints like about me all the time, right? But like people outside of my outside, they used to be like, nah, your son is like, you know what I mean? Like I don't have no issues with him. He's respectful. He, you know,
Exactly.
he goes above and beyond. So
Yes.
like, and I knew like in public, I could hear my mom's voice in the back of my head when I was in public. So like when I'm around her, that was kind of like my time to be like that annoying little kid and act like I wasn't like really. But like when I go out in public, I knew that like I'm representing, you know what I'm saying, my family. I know my mom gonna hear about it, you know what I'm saying? So I was trying to be on my best behavior. So any reports that she got back from teachers, from adults in the neighborhood, it was always positive. But in her mind, you know what I'm saying? So like you kind of gotta trick yourself because you also don't want to be in a situation where like your son is doing all the right things in the world, but all he hear from you is criticism.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And I've had to check myself on that several times. So yes.
You don't want to be in that situation. And that's for any, you know what I'm saying, mom out there that like you don't want to be in a situation where the world is giving more validation to your kid than you are, right?
Yes.
So now they want to go to the world. Like, I'm just going outside. I don't want to be around my mom. She be nagging. She don't like anything I say. She like, you know what I'm saying, second guessing it. I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing right when she around. But when I go to the world, everybody praising me for doing the right thing. So I'm gonna just go be where the praise is. I mean,
and another thing I had to learn was to stop giving my stuff, my burdens to my like. Wherever it happened, whatever I was going through, and my oldest has gone through a lot with me. I'll give it to him. Like that baby has experienced things that he may not even remember because I was having my own issues. But he know at the end of the day, like you are mommy's, like that's my baby. Like that's you know, we say our best friend, and I don't mean it like, oh, we out partying together, but that's my best friend. Like that's my little buddy that had helped. He made me a mother. My second taught me how to be a mom, but he made me a mom, and he stood by me and helped me, you know, as I navigated through the journey of learning what that really meant. And now as I'm doing it all over again, it's just a different journey because now I feel like now I'm giving it what motherhood is, where at first I was just a mom. Like I learned a lot along that journey with the first one. So
wow.
I think part of pushing kids to like, especially young boys, to be motivated is to kind of like figure out a way to explain to them that it's bigger than just this scenario. You know what I'm saying? Also giving them like boosting their self-esteem so they know like, because I know a lot of kids, they'll feel like if I can't do well at it, I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to try because I don't think I'm good at it. That's not like, so I'm not going to put no effort for it. And I'm just going to sit back and then whatever happens, because I would rather look cool and not try than try and make a fool of myself.
Yep.
So that's a big part of it too. It's like, I don't want to look like a fool doing something that I don't know how to do. And so I'd rather not try for real. Like I'm cool. At least if I don't try, I can always be like, nigga, I could do that.
So how do you navigate that there? Because they don't want to be a meme. Because you could be a meme out here.
Yeah, for sure. They don't want to be. You know what I'm saying, a part of that embarrassment. They don't want to feel that embarrassment. Like, and I get it as a young man. You know, especially as where we from, like being cool is like that was like high priority. Like, so you trying something and failing in front of everybody, that's just something that you don't want to do. Like. Because you're gonna lose that cool factor. So like that's important for us. Like, I want to maintain my respect for my peers. I don't want to like try something, look dumb, and then everybody now I'm the butt of the joke. So a lot of them be like, I'd rather not even try for real. Like,
and I think that's a point. That's a place and a point where we as parents have to figure out how to encourage them and motivate them. Like I tell my son all the time, you know, he plays football and basketball. You had to learn those. You didn't go in knowing how to play. You know, you had to start somewhere. But not only that, but understanding what failure really is. I tell them, failure is not, it doesn't mean that you don't know how or you're the worst person. It just means you didn't get the results you wanted the first time, and it created an opportunity to try it again. Like at least you learned something. You learned that it's not your thing, that you didn't do well. So if it's something you really want, then you gotta go study it a little bit more and take the opportunity to try it again. Even with like when he's playing his sports. All right, your team, you gotta take an L at some point.
Right.
But what got y'all to that L? Think about it. Think about how you can go back, and I try to motivate him. Think about how you can go back and motivate your team. And one thing I like that one of his coaches told him before is he said, you carry the energy for the team, which is bittersweet. But how you walk in the door every day, you're not even team captain, you're not lead. However, however you walk in the door, that's how your whole team, like that you create the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that can be heavy, but it can also boost you. It can boost you. And I told him, I said, so you got to think through that, like, no matter what. And I tell him all the time, mommy go to work. Some days it's rough. Some days she's tired. Some days, y'all have drained me already in the morning. But even before I had my youngest, I'm like, we have gone through things. I might wake up, we fussing because you're not doing this or getting ready. But by the time I hit that door, my problems that I came here with, they gotta go. I said, so the same thing when you walk in school, when you walk in basketball, you gotta remember these things that I'm dealing with mentally, like this is my outlet. And not only that, but these people weren't a part of that. So I can't come in here and put that on them. Right. I need to give my energy to this, the right energy to this. And we're big, like I'm big on teaching him about energy. He knows, like, if his energy off, my son is easily angered, and I'm teaching him how to control his anger and how to try to manage his emotions. So I tell him all the time, he knows. I tell him, leave my space until you figure your energy out, because I don't want you to dampen mine or your brother's.
Right.
And he hates it. It's like, what? Like, I'm not, no. The reality is, no, I need my mom right now, but I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to just be chill and calm and enjoy my mom's energy. Instead, because I gotta get off what's on me. And it's like, dude, like nobody, I tell them, you cannot give that to people that it doesn't belong to. You can't carry that. You can't, let that steam off on somebody else and put that burden on them. You got to deal with that. You got to figure out in your mind, like, and I tell them all the time, think it through. What were the events leading up to this? How can I prevent it from happening again? How did it make me think all those things through? So my child likes to rush a lot, and I hate it because I know I partially created that culture within him. But I'm, stop rushing. Just take the time and think. Take the time and be still. Take the time and understand. Like, you gotta learn patience. I want you to learn it as you're at this age and navigating through life. I don't want you to get in the world trying to learn patience, because the world doesn't have patience for you.
Right.
It's just so much with it, but
right.
Finding ways. I think it's finding opportunities in things that we see, that interest them or that they are actually dealing with in the moment, and using those as opportunities to say, okay, how do we take this and spin this? How do we turn this negative into a positive?
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that, like, boys want to be, listen, men in general, like, we want to be leaders, right? So, like, his coach letting him know, like, yo, like, that's a form of leadership, like, and you got to do the right thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Your energy leads the rest of your teammates, so you have to do the right. That's like obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're obligated to do something, right? It's past just showing up on the field. It's like your energy got to be in check too, because it's going to affect everybody around you, which is going to affect how we perform.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
you don't always have to have the title of leader. Like, leaders are, everybody in the room can be a leader just based on how they carry themselves. And you may not even realize it, but to know that your actions put you in that position, like, just because, that's why I tell them all the time, even at work in my position, I'm like, titles don't excite me, because people thrive off of titles when 9 times out of 10 they don't even have the credentials for the title that they carry. Mm-hmm. So, just because he's the coach's son, he's the captain, but that doesn't mean he's the leader. That doesn't mean he has what it takes to actually pull this team forward.
Right. Right. Yeah, it sound like he a leader. So you on a good job. You on the right track. It sounds like you got because like you said, he giving advice. The coach saying that like he is a leader. So right now, that's something I can build off of. Now I can put things in place to grow you as a leader because it sounds like that's what he headed towards anyways, being a leader, a motivational speaker, maybe a therapist, just that route. So now moving forward, I'm gonna just keep throwing things to build that leadership in you because that's what it sounds like your purpose is.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to put him in uncomfortable spaces or situations, not things that'll harm him, but things that he's never experienced before, things that I haven't experienced before. So, just taking him places, doing things that will expose him to something new. One of our biggest things is birthdays. I decided, you'll have a birthday party at 5. I was like, no more parties. You can go somewhere every year, but what you have to do is you have to find that place and you have to research it. I need to know what we're going to do there, what the hotels are, which hotel you would like to stay. So it's ways to challenge them, to engage their interest and challenge them and motivate them to do a little more and be a little more and not just Roblox and, cell phones and social media. So.
Another thing, right? The challenging part, like boys need to be challenged. They need some sort. They need a challenge, something that's going to excite them. They can't just exist. They need something to challenge them because that's just who we are by nature. Like we need some type of motivation. You know what I mean? Motivation to compete or you know what I mean? They gotta have. So that's good that you present him with those challenges because it's gonna force him to grow. You know what I'm saying? To mature, to learn at a faster rate. So that's definitely beneficial. Another thing I think that we need to get into the habit of doing. Not to say that you're not doing it. Just for anybody watching. I feel like just working hard to build your kids' self-esteem. Even if they not there. Right, working overtime to build their self-esteem, so they yo, I can't afford to be lazy because I got a goal, I got a destination, and even if I don't necessarily see it right now, even if I'm not on the road there, I know that there's something bigger out there for me to accomplish. So I can't really be lazy. I can't really lack motivation because I got somewhere to be.
Yep.
When you beating them, when we beat them down and, you know what I'm saying, just talk about what they not doing all the time, they don't feel the need to do it. It's bro, I don't even care for real. You're just nagging at me anyway. So, I'm just going to sit and play the game all day. It's whatever. They got to see something bigger.
Yeah, that's how it was. I had to be challenged, bro. I would get bored quick. When Rose, when I went to Rose for a couple years, that school challenged me. Duval, so I would get honor. It was crazy. I would get honor roll with the hard courses, and then the easy courses that I could just chill in. I wouldn't get honor roll. So that challenging is so much. It's so key.
And when we talk about self-esteem, that confidence piece, I've noticed in the generation of our kids, that confidence piece really lacks. And again, I think it goes back to what's impacting them. So like you said, if your son hasn't been introduced to social media, you still have the opportunity to impact him as a father, from the household where he can build his confidence and he can know who he is and what his potential is. But once that world and that this world and social media get a hold of him, it's man, come on, man. I want to just take everything away from. I want to wipe your phone clean and just make you understand you are so much more than what you see on the internet. The internet is all a lie. It's just not true at all.
I tell my mentor. I got a mentee. He's in his early 20s or whatever. So I tell him, we talk about it I'll be working overtime to make my kids see certain things that they think is cool as corny. I really be working overtime. I'll be bro, oh, you think this dude cool? Whoever the person is at the time. Oh, and I just be you don't think that's corny? You
Yeah.
don't think like this? You don't think this a corny move? Like you don't think that's corny? And they'd be like, damn, I ain't really think about it like that. Or like this, you don't think? You think that's a stand up move right there? Like what he did? That's like solid. And they'd be like, damn, hold on, wait. I'm like, so like a discussion we had last year is like everything you do for money ain't cool.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you challenging them to actually think and
Yeah.
to present logic,
Yeah.
which so many of them they don't do. It's just they going with the flow of the moment and what's cool. Like you said, what's cool, but when you really break it down and you're like, but what if it's not? Then it's like,
Right. Let me think of hold up.
right.
So dang, that's not cool for real. Like,
Right.
Not cool, right? Then you realize the world is corny, bro. Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm
It's
saying?
like, would you? I use people that they care about. Like, I'm like, yo, we listen to Future, right? Like, we listen to Future. We listen to Thug. Like, you think these like solid moves that they making? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you think that's a solid move for real? Like, would you want your kid in the house with another man raising him, calling him daddy, and y'all don't really have a relationship that's cool with you? Like, that's how you want to live? Is it just because you got some bread and like you 40 years old, 45 years old in the club popping bottles? Like, that's the life you want?
Exactly.
Like, that's what's cool to you. Like, you think that's cool. Like, think about these dudes' lives in real life. Like, the money cool. The money is cool. Like, the fame is cool. But like, think about like their life in real life. Like the type of men that they portray themselves to be. Like, is that cool? Is that what you want for like if you just get past the money for a second? Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
think about these, like, what's really going on. Like, that's what you want. I feel like, oh, that's respect.
Yeah.
Then I let him think about that for a second. Just ask yourself if that's really fire for you, bro.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, you mean you got to take every moment especially like she said with social media and everything thrown at them. So your fight is you got to turn up as an adult, because every moment is a learning moment, a teaching moment. Everything, if I'm riding in the car, every little piece of information we see is some type of thing that's a teaching moment. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. Like the recent thing I just taught him, and I just took from movies, like an article came out about McDonald's, for example. And I told him to read the article, and he like, oh, they use him and me or whatnot. Yeah. But so now I'm like, okay, so remember that movie you watch, how on Chicken Run, the ads you see, they made it look like it was a happy place. This is the same thing in real time. You see, so now he look at commercials skeptically now.
Yeah.
Now I compared it to the movie and real life and made it real for him, because every little thing is a teaching moment. So now now his next question is, hey, why is it a line still out there though, Dad? Now we can have a deeper conversation now,
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I think back to the motivation thing, understand, like what Chaz was saying earlier, like understanding what his interests are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even at list 5 to 10, like they can give you something, right? And Britt, you might already know, so this may be for somebody else who's listening. Like,
no, it's for me too.
they'll tell you what they care about,
mm-hmm.
right? Like it might not be a long list, but they'll tell you a few things.
Mm-hmm.
that they actually care about, right? And then you can start there. Like you don't have to stay there, but they'll open up about the things that they care about, whatever that is, whether it's video games or tennis shoes or whatever. Like they'll open up about it, and you can kind of like peel back the layers on whatever that thing is, right? To see, why it's interest for them. Like what would they do with it, or how much thought have they put into it? Is this something that they could see themselves doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, you love, like, I see you always looking at tennis shoes. Like,
mm-hmm.
what's the tennis shoe thing about? Like, you ever thought about like designing a shoe, or like,
yep,
any thought of that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or even like my student athletes, when I be talking to them about like all the student athletes, I probably had like 25 in the group. I printed out a list of like 20 careers in sports that are not on the field or on the court, right? Mm-hmm. And I just gave it to them. I'm like, yo, there's a chance that you can make it to the league, to the NBA, to the NFL, but it's a chance that you can't. But if you still want to be around that space, if you still want to be around that lifestyle, here's some opportunities that you could take advantage of possibly that's not on the field or on the court, right? I'm like, think about it, right? Like, let's say you was an entertainment lawyer or something like that, or sports management lawyer. They're like, what's that? I'm like, all right, so let me break it down. Let's say you work with LeBron and you work with this person, and let's say you work with 5 athletes and you get 3% of their contract.
Yeah.
Wait, so what you mean? Like, so it's like other things. It's like, so now you can say you're cool with LeBron, right? Like, you cool with LeBron, you go to the games, you be at all the events and all that, but you don't have to worry about your career being 4 years.
Yep.
Right? Like, you can eat for a long period of time. You know what I mean? You can be in the same environments with the same clothes, date the same women, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to necessarily put your body through that or go through the PTSD, post-traumatic sports. You know what I'm saying? That's the dudes who put their whole life into the sport and then they never made it to the league and they don't know what to do with themselves. It's like,
and your career doesn't have to end early as some of them do because you have more potential. I like that. I like that a lot. I never thought of that, but I like that.
So I made them just to get them some options and be like, yo, and I think because I suffer from that, right? I didn't know what was out there. Like, so when people ask me, what do you want to do? I'd be like, I have no idea what's out there, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the advantage. That's the advantage they have now, right? So it's all out there in the open. So like you just like how you had mentoring someone who was a young one and in the neighborhood, you know, he rough situation coming up, right? But I didn't know he likes to cook. Young boy, he likes to cook. He likes to eat too, but he likes to cook. I didn't know that. So now I'm like, boom, you're already on social media, man. You know you can make a living cooking. Let me show you some stuff. Now he's blown away, like, what? So now we had a community day. Hey, you mind serving some food for the homeless? Yeah. Man, he enjoyed it, right? So now I can shape him of the possibilities of you love to cook, you love to eat, and you can make a life with that. So now let's focus on, you know what I'm saying? I need a new recipe from you in a month.
Which is a challenge, right? Which is the challenge. Like, that's presenting a challenge for him to be like, oh, all right, bet. I'm gonna see what I can come up with. You gotta find what they're interested in and then present challenges around that.
Yep. And exposing them to that lifestyle so they understand, like, how do you get here? Like, for instance, my girlfriend had her birthday party in Fort Lauderdale a year or two ago. It was about 100 of us. We stayed at the Hilton on the beach. You know, so every morning the kids were able to get up. Whatever person or parent went downstairs first, they jump in the Starbucks line. They get what they want. You know, we expose them to that. They could walk across the streets to the beach. So my son keeps asking, Mom, when we gonna do that again? All right, cool. You can do it for your entire. But that's mommy's money. So how do you, if that's the lifestyle that you like, then we need to think about how can you create that lifestyle for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not always, like you said, it's not always sports. I've never thought to give them other options that, you know, are connected to the things that they like. But how do you create that lifestyle for yourself? You like being able to get up, walk across the street to the beach. You can work from the beach every day if you want to, if you make the right moves.
Yep. So, that reminded me of a conversation I had with my boys last year. It's like we just did a whole session on backwards mapping. It's like, all right, like, on, you know, let's just talk about what kind of life do you want? Like, what's your dream life?
Yeah.
Right. And then we kind of like work backwards as to like how you put that together. Like, it was just a backwards, you know what I'm saying? We just backwards map how we get to that stage. So now like they looking at it differently. They like, oh, okay, like I can get there. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I put my roadmap together, you know, make the right decisions, take this step and not that step, and I can figure it out. You know what I mean? So like those conversations, I think, kind of open their mind up to like, you know what I'm saying, other possibilities, right? Because like a lot of the lack of motivation come from like, yo, I don't even know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know which direction I need to be going. So I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit in place. I'm gonna sit in place because I don't know which direction I need to go. So I'm gonna just stay here.
Well, that's how it is.
That's what happens often too.
That's how it is. Wow.
So, go ahead, Chad. I thought you were about to say something.
No, go ahead. I thought you about that question. Go ahead.
Nah, so like so far we got like keep them motivated, right? Encourage them, speak positively on them. Chaz,
Engaging interest.
engage in their interest, right? Chaz talked about like pulling their interest out of them, as many interests as you can, just pulling those out of them, exposing them to new things, different things, new places, just trying to expose them as much as possible. What are the other ones we mentioned?
So yes,
Presenting
possibility.
challenges was another one.
Putting them in spaces where they have influence that motivates them. I mean, it goes back to motivation, but exposing them to those spaces and those people that would make them want to be and do better.
Exactly. Just even if they like, and I'm talking about like situations where you might not even know the people, right, who can do those things, but just like putting them in this so they can just see it, right? So they can just have an understanding of what that even looks like. Like, even if you personally don't know these people, like just getting them in an environment so they can just be, open-eyed, so they can just be looking around like, oh man, like you just gotta let them have their own experiences too, like so they'll just be in an environment, even if they don't know what to do or who to talk to. They just look just slowly.
I mean, it's interesting. As a parent, though, it's almost like because I was in the music. It's almost like just being a manager for the children, right? You like when you said put them in spaces and expose them. That was the job of a manager. I had to get the artists in the right space for the right opportunities. I'm gonna set you up at this studio at this time because I know you will come across this person. So now as parents, we really gotta kind of up our game up as far as I'm using again the term as a manager, but we gotta up our game up as getting them in the right places. We have to, do more networking now, collaborating now, getting with like-mindeds so we can build. Because a lot of times now everything is falling. We have to really build the infrastructure ourselves in the community that we want our children to flourish in. So I have to link up with you and your program, and we put the programs together. Now your boys meeting other boys from different neighborhoods. And it's like, whoa, this possibility, So now we got to kind of just really build the world with our mature mind the best we can for our babies.
Yeah.
And I think too, like to that point, it's creating the stage and the space for our boys, right? So as single moms, sometimes we don't know how, but we also fear asking for help or showing. We see it as a weakness that we need some help navigating. So we have to, as parents, get out of that space. And I'm not even just going to say single moms, but dads too, because sometimes dad didn't have it, so he doesn't know how to give it, but he might, be able to find a program or find an advocate that can give it. So don't be afraid that you're going to, lose a bond or lose that with your child because you're engaging somebody else to help out. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to and I'm preaching to the choir because I'm one of those parents. I'm going to try to go to every end and do it myself because it's just, I feel like that's my job and my duty as a parent, but being open to that help, being open to the people that get it, that know how to do it, that are out there, the programs that are available to you. So I think that plays a big part too, because sometimes we hinder our own children by not allowing them to venture out into the good spaces.
For sure.
Right. Wow.
And it's just like, and then when they sit in the house on video games all night, then we yelling and screaming, but they had an opportunity. You didn't want to get in the car and take them 5 minutes up the street to the community center where they were having the program. Yep. So now that, his grades are bottom of the barrel because he's on the game all night and tired every day he go to school, who's really to blame in those spaces?
I mean, that's facts. Nobody on this call, but I'm seeing that, in the community to where, unfortunately, like, man, parents people are selfish. Like, cause they care about, I'm tired, I don't feel like it, but you gotta get to the point, as a parent, especially, like, it's not about me. You lived your life, you're almost that saying, right? Because like you said, that take 5 minutes to drive them up the street because you're tired. I get you tired. You're working hard. Nobody understands your pain. I get it. But it's not about you and the pain no more. You know what I'm saying? You gotta sacrifice for them. And because theirs is what's going to carry, if you care about it, your name, your legacy forward, and push the generation forward. But we lazy, man. We lazy. We selfish. I'm seeing it.
We are, and because if it's an opportunity for some parents, if it's an opportunity for them to show off or for them to get credit, they'll drive different, from state to state. But if it's about the child getting an advocate or bettering themselves, and some parents have this desire for control. So, if I turn you over to somebody else that gets it, that knows it, that has it, then I can no longer control you. And that's not necessarily the thing. Like, you're not losing your child. You're not losing your control. You're not losing your authority as a parent or your position. You are just literally giving them what they need. You too are an advocate because you're making the time and investing the time to get them that thing that may help them to be better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
let's leave it with some closing messages. I would love to say, first and foremost, thank y'all for both of y'all for being here. And for anybody who's watching and listening, we appreciate it. My closing statement, I would love to say that we got to remember that, like, there are people who care, right? There are people outside of your household who want to assist, who have information, who want to help you along, right? And this is for anybody, all kind of parents, whatever, right? There are resources available. There are people who want to assist. You just have to be willing to take that extra step. And also, like, you also got to remember, like, this is your child, but you are giving this person to the world, right? Like, this your kid for sure. You went through the whole process, but you're giving this person to the world. So you got to be aware of the influence that you have on this person, because you are now sending them into the world to deal with other people. So that's something that we got to be conscious and aware of.
And they were given to you with a purpose. So let them find their purpose.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is, my biggest thing is knowing your child, knowing their interests, engaging their interests. It may not be as cut and dry as you would like it to be. For instance, my son hates reading. That is his worst. He does not like you. You have to basically beat him down to read. So what did I do? There was an opportunity. Next week, Allen Iverson is doing a meet and greet for his new book. Bought a ticket. Now we're going to engage your interest. You have sat down, you got online, learned about AI, you like him. He's a basketball player. You're a basketball player. So we're gonna go, and then not only do you get to meet him, but you get a book. Now we're gonna read that book. You met him. How does that, so engage your children's interest. Understand what they like. Because as we talked about, it may not be cut and dry. They may not just come out and say it. They may not be able to put it on paper, but watch them. See where their eyes spark. See where they give their best effort and their most effort, and take it from there. So
that's smart, real. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And I mean, I just co-sign what both of y'all said. I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's about really coming together with it, man. We just have to, even as a parent, though. Lastly, because like you said, it is your child, but really, a child is really God's child. He just blessed you to help, push the purpose forward, because a lot of times children is just answer to the prayer. Like, so, the times, you cried, or your mom, grandparents cried, that child came as a gift from God to answer your prayer, but it's really his. So, but we have to get out our way, our own way sometimes. So, like, even, the example with Allen Iverson, you were building a network even for yourself, right? Because now the child made you jump in certain spaces you probably wouldn't have done. So, know that when you have children, man, and just like and build, man, we got it. That's one thing we didn't try yet is really unite. And I think these younger generation especially is forcing us to do that because the change has to be made. All these years, man, we still kind of as a whole in the same predicament. So something we have to do different is come together now and really put our minds together for the baby. So yeah.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful conversation, y'all. If you want to join the conversation, please make sure y'all subscribe to the channel on Man Time. You can follow on YouTube or Instagram. We have these conversations every other week. So we will be back. So make sure that you tap in, man. This is Abjudah here. Chaz, Britt, we appreciate y'all listening, man. We out of here. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.